Today what we're going to be doing is, I've noticed it's a little hard to get into the bed like others, so I'm going to put on a bed step. The challenge is that this has the ARB Recovery Points on it, and many of the bed steps that come require you to take off the passenger side recovery point. I don't like that idea, number one. Number two, it will ruin the effect of the look of the truck. We're going to install a Yota Expedition Bed Step. Here's the parts that come with it. Here's the step. It's upside down, pre-staged with some bolts in it. And by the way, the Yota Expedition seems super high quality and strong and sturdy. I think I'm going to be very pleased with it. But this is a heavy-duty bracket that's on here. Although you may be able to use the 130s, I instead elected to order zinc-plated 140 millimeter long bolts. You can see here that I did business with a company called Bolts and Nuts. I've never worked with them previously, but my goodness, these are hard to find fasteners, if you want to say. I had a hard time locating a vendor that had these in stock. Bolts and Nuts, in fact, did, and I got the bolts and nuts at an extremely reasonable price within 2 days of my order. So here's what we got. Here's the setup, and I'm going to reposition the camera, and from there we go. Again, I'm just a complete amateur making these, so I get nothing from these companies, but Yota Expedition is highly rated, and the Sxth Element is right up there as well. By the way, I have the Sxth Element air intake on my truck as well, and are extremely pleased with it. Before we get under the truck, let's do a little bit of pre-assembly. These are just three 12 millimeter bolts, so we've got those in, and what we're going to do is we're going to tighten these down. That's nice and tight. So is that. Okay, so the first part of the operation that we're going to do is to take off the existing hardware and dismount yeah, that's on. I think these things, if I remember, need to be torqued to about 125 pounds or so. Now we're going to gently remember how heavy this thing is. We've taken this off. I have to lower the spare tire because the way this is threaded in here, we don't have the necessary clearance without getting the wheel. That's going to be especially true since we're putting in longer bolts. Okay, we're back on the job. Here is we're going to push this new guy through. On the other side, we're going to pull this guy out again. Perfectly good hardware. And we're going to bring in the new 140. I can see this is going to be tight. How this is going to work here. Oh, I'm bringing this up, pushing this through. I know you can't really see the vantage point. You can see that I've got these threaded through. Step is extended. I'm sticking a washer okay, I got these on. I think you really need a wrench like I'm using here. I don't socket wrench on here, although perhaps you could from the opposite side. I switched the view to show you here that there's nothing very exciting happening on this side of the job. Well, there's been a break in the action by about 30 minutes or so. I'm resuming the video now. The thing is that I have everything set up here, everything bolted down, etc. I got the step in, so on and so forth. You can see the idea behind it. Kind of easy peasy. The problem is, and why I had to run out, was that when I went to the final part of the operation, I was warned that it's possible that even with the relocation bracket, that there could be a rub of the step against the recovery hook. And that in fact is true. So I went out to the handy hardware store and got myself some stainless steel M16 washers, and I'm going to attempt to use them simply as a spacer to try to slightly bump out the bed step itself to get enough clearance. That's the idea. I've seen that hint before. I didn't anticipate that when I first ordered my parts. I also have back out here just for a moment the standard 130 millimeter ARB bolt that went on, and I can tell you right now that based on the 140 and the clearance, a 130A would not have given much bite on the nut, if you want to say, which is not a good idea considering the load that it has to carry. That's number one. Now number two, think of it, if I then also use an additional spacer, this bolt simply would have been dangerous. It wouldn't have worked at all. So those considering doing this on this particular Yota Expedition along with the Sxth Element Relocation Bracket on an ARB Recovery Point, don't kid yourself, you're going to need the longer 140 bolt. So I'm back to the beginning. What I have here, as you can see, the two bolts are through. I've put two M16 large washers on the rear bolt, and the idea is that that's going to try to bump out the step just a little bit. So I'm going to remount the remount everything and see how it goes. You'll notice I did not put another washer on the front because I'm trying to get a little bit of a tilt out there. Well, we're at a moment of truth. I decided that I could take the whole thing apart again to try to get the clearance that I need. It's just ever so slight. Or I drew a couple of lines here. I can take the drastic measure, and I hope I don't ruin this thing, but I'm just going to use this grinder to try to just take the smallest little notch out of the corner. I don't think it will do anything to the integrity of the step, but it will save a lot of aggravation if I could just do a little tiny angled cut. Well, after this, maybe I should have gone to dentistry school. I could have been a dentist or maybe a potter. All right. The finished look of the bed step that is here, you can see it protrudes just a slight amount for obvious reasons. You've got to be able to put your step on it. So let's see. You give it a push. There it is. Okay, here's the final thing. I was a little doubtful about this, but here we go. Time to get in. And you're in the truck. Makes it a heck of a lot easier. I can step back down, step out, and we can complete the operation. But this is practical and handy because without the bed step, trying to get in and out of this bed is quite difficult, or awkward is a better way to put it.